I had an adjustment. I can't remember what it was now. Did we talk about an adjustment there?
We didn't,
We didn't?
but I have a couple.
Yeah, okay. I thought I had one too. I can't remember what it was. How's your foot?
It's coming all the time. It's certainly not better, but it's better than it was.
Did your adjustment related to the library committee by any chance?
No? No, can't remember what it was. I'll think of it. Is that clock right now? Hey, close. Wow.
5:59.
Thank you for cutting all those shrubs down.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't cut them all, I cut some of them.
It's good.
I was gonna take my chainsaw down, and there's an old bunch of roots and stubs that come up that I tripped over twice, that really should just be cut off or pulled out. I was thinking I would try to pull it out with my truck, and then I said, I'm gonna make a mess of the lawn if I do that. So I thought if I just took my chainsaw and cut it off level, because it's really nasty if you step into it, you could break an ankle.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Or a bullet.
All right, we ready to go? Ready to go. All right, I want to call this, the meeting of the Southampton Select Board of September 13th to order at 6 p.m. Adjustments to the agenda. Terry, you said you had a couple?
I do, I have the municipal evaluation return needs to be signed. And I have two abatements, one for the Spruce Head Fisheries Co-op and one for Michael Carr. And they were extra in your extra packet, yeah. Doesn't matter how long you wait, something always comes in.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had one too, but I can't think of what it was at the moment, so, but if I do during the course, I'll jump back and adjust it. So, public comment for items not on the agenda. Is there any public comment for items not on the agenda? Okay. Review and approval of prior meeting minutes, August 23rd and August 30th. Terry, I sent you a couple of edits on one of them. I don't remember which one.
I don't remember either, but I put revision 1 in your packet. That included the changes, the revision.
I'd make a motion to approve the August 30th minutes.
I'll second that.
August 30th. Okay, yeah, I didn't have any changes to that one. Is, further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, I did have, okay, you did make the changes that I suggested in one, so I'm good with revision 1 on the 23rd, if someone wants to make a motion.
I make motion that we accept the minutes of the August 23rd meeting.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Okay.
2 in favor and 1 abstention.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
saying, okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't here.
That's right, too. All right, I'm gonna, jump around. Kevin has to drive all the way to Newport, Maine, which is a long drive, correct?
Yep.
And so I would like to take him first, since everybody else has got a much shorter drive. So for those of you who don't know, Kevin McCormick has worked as our assessors agent, was technically our RJD,
Correct.
a company, and Kevin was in their employ for years, and was basically the person that was assigned here as our assessment agent. And he has left the employee of RJD, and he approached me about chatting with the board about the potential of him becoming, contracting with us for assessing services. And I told him that it was something really that the board needed to have a discussion with, and invited him to come a couple of weeks ago. And then he wrote the book. So that's kind of the background here. So Kevin, do you want to just give us a little pitch or spiel or something?
Sure, I mean,
Tell us what you're doing and.
so, so as John said, I worked for RJD Appraisal, for 19 years. And I can't tell you, without doing some research, how long I was actually here.
Been a long
Been a
time.
long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, at least 10, 12 years. I think it's probably 10. Anyway, I was the assessor's agent here, as John said, I decided, it was my decision to leave RJD Appraisal in an effort to have more control over my future employment, where in the state I'm working and so on. And now I'm looking for a few towns to take on my own. I know this town well. I've worked here a long time. I know a lot of the town people that I've met, you know, out in the field doing field work. I don't really know where to go with this. It's kind of odd because I have been the assessor here, so you're going to get basically what you were getting before. I guess anybody is welcome to ask me questions if you have any.
Well, I have two.
Okay.
And maybe you can answer this, but I'm always interested in costs.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to, your proposals cost, say, on an annual basis versus what we're currently doing, which I think is $585 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what, 60 days?
It's 600. It's
600? Oh, do I have an outdated one?
Mine says 585 on
Well, there's a letter
2020.
from.
Oh, yes, updated, yeah, 625.
625 will be starting in January. Right now it's 600, right?
Okay, I don't see the 600, but that's okay.
It's this letter that they changed. It ended in 20. So
Got it, got
Oh,
it.
yeah.
21.
Okay, yeah, okay. All right, so, so I guess on a, and that's been historically based on roughly, how many days?
40 days.
40 days, more or less, yeah.
Well, it has been 40 days break since I've been here. And what I was told years ago from the select board, and I don't know who was serving then, I know Cheryl was on the board at the time, is the town has set that money aside for 40 days. We want you to use the 40 days, and basically, if you get done with your yearly assessing in less than 40 days, go out and review properties, which we should be doing. This municipality should be doing anyway to keep up with state standards.
Okay.
So in the past, we have used, I don't know, 4 or 5 days a year reviewing properties. But,
Okay,
yeah,
so
so
what,
40 days.
so what would your proposed rate per hour be? I mean, are you, have you thought through that far yet, or, per day, I mean?
Yeah, 600.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
600 is, and some.
I saw that, I just want the public to hear
Oh,
the
okay.
discussion.
Yeah, 600 per day, and that's based on,
I didn't see the other one.
some research that I've done. I talked to a lot of, just going out on my own and leaving, RJD. I needed to know where assessors were as far as, pay, and, that's a pretty common, 600 is pretty common.
Okay, so basically,
Up in
no,
Aroostook County, they're more like 800 plus up there.
so we're basically talking no change in that regard. Essentially.
Yep.
My other question is, although and this is kind of a double-edged sword, I personally didn't like it when they went from one assessors agent, which
Yep.
was you, to
Yep.
two, because I'd come in and ask a question on the
Yeah.
day that you were here, and you would say, geez, I don't know, Jay
Yeah.
did that, or I'd come in and ask Jay, and he'd say, I don't know, Kevin did that.
Yeah.
And I felt like we lost that
Yeah,
continuity,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. That's the plus side. The downside is, if someone breaks their foot,
good point.
and you don't have any backup. I
That's
mean,
right.
you are you,
I am me.
and,
Yes, good point.
so that's the other side of the double-edged sword. in my mind.
Yeah,
So
there's-
how would you address if you were in the hospital for 2 weeks with an appendectomy?
I don't know. I mean, that would have to be something obviously that part of my proposal, I think this is the other big change that we probably should talk about is, at the very beginning of my proposal, something that I would like to change up a bit from the way things have been going here, is a lot of the towns now, from what I'm hearing, with the new introduction of Trio Web, the new updated, it's called Trio Web, which is our billing software that we use here. And basically with that, and even with Trio SQL, which is, I believe, the one that we have here
Yeah.
at the time. But it's possible to do a lot of this work from a home office. Things like answering emails, doing deeds. A lot of the assessors are having them sent directly to their house. And then, I'd like to play with that idea. And I'm not saying that I'm not gonna come here. I'm definitely gonna make myself available for the public to come in and meet with me. But I just don't think that, and I've worked here a long time, so I can say this safely. I just don't think that it's necessary for me or any assessor, as far as that goes, to be in the office on every day.
Well, how many days are you typically here a month now?
Well,
Not
You
you,
figured-
but now you and Jay together.
yeah, so it's 40 days a year, so, not quite a day a week. Right,
Yeah, I don't know, I personally feel it's important that we have a kind of a consistent day though, that it doesn't have to be a day a week in my mind, but I'd like to see maybe a day every 2 weeks or something.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know how you guys feel
Yeah.
about that, but.
the way that I have it worded in here, and I think that Terry and Bill and I can stay in touch enough so that this could definitely work, but, I can be here it's not an issue for me to be here. It's just if I don't have to travel way down here, to sit in that chair and read deeds, then, you know, something to think about, I guess.
There are times that nobody comes in to see Kevin.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's just,
It's not like the
and
vote.
I mean, he's not sitting there doing nothing, but
Right.
doesn't have actual person in his
Right, yeah.
office.
It just, it's, I just don't think that it's always necessary to travel the 2 hours down here, just to read deeds and, you know, but that's entirely up to you guys. I thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah,
Thoughts, questions?
yeah, for that job, the assessor's agent job, I don't see the reason to have somebody here. I think it's important for something like CEO and for a whole lot of other functions that we've got. But that one, if you're gonna be talking to the assessor's agent, you're thinking about it ahead of time. It's something you want to schedule time with them. And I think that just facilitates that easier. As long as you're taking phone calls and emails.
Of course, yes, yes.
The only hard part about it, and I know a lot of businesses now figured out how to do it, is it becomes, especially for something like your job, we're paying you for a whole day.
Yeah.
And you could easily be doing you could be getting paid for 3 towns.
Yeah.
A full day.
Yep.
And how that gets adjudicated and massaged.
Yep.
And tracked, that's the only part I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm sure there's a way to do that, but.
Yeah. Well, we do the reports, the monthly reports. I could certainly do, I mean, this is stuff that we could figure out. And it's not something that's mandatory to make this work on my end. I'm just throwing it out
Yeah,
there.
no, and it makes sense. I mean, you could do a more detailed report.
Yeah, and
With the
maybe
2
more-
hours that you're wasting driving down here.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I
You could
mean,
take a half an hour and,
Right.
and we'd get more information.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, other questions? This is the first we've discussed this, so, I don't have a clue whether we're interested in moving away from, RJD or not.
Yeah.
And that's something we'll have to discuss, but so I don't anticipate making a decision tonight, but,
No, 'cause I definitely like.
I have a question.
yeah, hang on just a minute, but, I'm gonna finish, see if Sue, you have any questions, and then I'll move to the public.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to know if the town has to reevaluate all the properties on a regular basis.
Not on a regular.
And matter of fact, that's on
That's on the agenda tonight and later on. But typically, that wouldn't be something, well, it could be something that you could do as there's other things you could just make class adjustments too.
Yep.
So there's several ways to approach that, but last time we did a revaluation, we went out and hired a firm with 6 or 7 employees. That's a big.
And how does that work? Do they visit every property?
Oh, yeah, they basically start from scratch almost, or at least that's what they did last time.
Yeah.
very expensive.
Very expensive
So it's
process.
not the task that one person could do.
Probably not a full blown like that. But
It could happen. Typically, if a single assessor is to take on a project in a town this size, it will typically be a 2-year ordeal. He or she would work.
Yeah, and you wouldn't do it inside the 40 days.
No,
No.
no.
Right, it would
No,
be an additional.
It would
So
be,
in either case, it would be an additional contract or
Oh, yeah,
amendment to it or whatever, yeah.
Well, not necessarily. I think that part of the job of the assessors agent right now is to see where we're going askew for any particular type of property
Yeah,
or area.
but that's not a full blown reval.
No, but that can get you where you want to be
And avoid it,
and avoid it.
right.
And prior to you guys taking over, that's in fact what our assessors agent had done several times.
So you're not required every so many years to do a total.
Well,
They recommend,
Yeah.
and by they, I mean the state, they recommend everything.
Every town.
But there's also triggers when your valuation gets out of sync.
70 to 110%.
But what I think is more important is the quality. I mean, I think as long as everybody is equally treated unfairly, that's okay, because everybody's equal.
You're right.
I know.
Except for,
We lose our,
we lose.
Yeah.
You get, right now, in this year,
Yes.
for the veterans and for the homestead and for the tree growth, and there's another one that's based on that.
Betty.
Is based on the 94%, so.
Yeah.
So our taxpayers don't get the full credit that they deserve. Because we are only at 94% of what the state says we should be. Which is a very, and all we have to do, I think, is take it to 95%. And we get the full amount, because it appears now that the trigger is at up to, if you hit 94%, then they start lowering. And it used to be 80%. They wouldn't withhold anything unless you got below 80%, but apparently it's changed. And they would almost require you, if you hit an 80% to do a reeval.
Yeah, it's now 70 to 110%. So if you're within those parameters, you're okay. You will lose a portion of your returns, and your exemption.
And that doesn't happen if you're at 95%, right?
It does still,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, they allow you, I think that sheet that you're referring to, they allow you, to round up. But you have to be, in order to get the whole exemption, you have to be at 100% after you've rounded up.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it had to be 100%.
Yeah, you do.
But I still come back, personally, I feel the quality, the equality is more critical.
Correct.
I mean, if someone is afraid that 110% of value, and someone is afraid that 60% of value, I'm talking classes now. That to me is a bigger problem. That's not fair, so. But anyway. Okay, anything else? Do we wanna, is there interest in moving this direction, or?
And I'm really interested in basically going out to bid for this. Yeah. And I think that's the best way to make a change. But because again, we've been, although it's been you, we've been with that company
Yes.
that you were a part of for many, many years. If we're gonna change, I don't wanna just say, oh, we're changing because your guy, you know, the guy that's been doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I had a little discomfort with that as well. I mean, on the other hand, I really liked it a lot better when Kevin was the only person assigned here.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. But I have no problem with that. I'm not sure I would call it a bid, as much as
Right.
proposals.
Right, yeah, I agree. Let me just get proposals.
Yeah.
And it can be, we can invite rather than just put it out.
Yeah.
Request.
When is the RJD's current contract up, you know?
Yeah, during the year.
I didn't look. I thought maybe you know.
It's not a calendar year.
It is on a calendar. And that's another thing, we might want to change this to fiscal year, maybe not, no. I'm trying to think that through. So this has been extended twice, right? For 2022, that's the latest. So it would expire in
December.
December, so this is good timing.
Yep.
I mean, so, do you want to make that a motion that we seek proposals for assessors, services beginning January 1?
Yes, I make that a motion. You need the words?
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we seek proposals for assessor's agent service to begin in January of 2023.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there further discussion? Anybody else? Kevin, anything else you want to add?
There's nothing else I can think of at
Okay.
this time, but what I will say, is as you guys think about this and get anywhere, if you have any questions at all for me, Harry has my number, I believe John, I don't know if John has,
Oh,
Harry definitely has my number. Feel free to reach out to me. Gary also has my email address if that's easier. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good luck
Yeah.
with your trip home.
yes.
So how many towns have you signed on so far? Just curious.
Well, I haven't
Officially,
officially signed on to any yet.
Yeah.
I have a
What-
lot of irons in the fire. right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
As a matter of fact, I was talking to Phil about that earlier, while we were waiting for the meeting to begin. As you guys know, municipal government, it's slow. Things take time in municipal government. Selectmen meet every 2 weeks generally.
Mhm.
A lot of times things get tabled. So then the next time you meet, now you're talking a month's
Yeah,
span. And then sometimes it goes on beyond that. So I've got a lot of irons in the fire, for many different towns, but nothing is finalized.
okay,
So,
all right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
yes, so
Drive safely.
I'm gonna head out then.
Yeah, sure, you should. That was the whole idea.
I appreciate it.
All right, let's jump back to,
Good to see you, Kevin. Good luck.
yeah,
Thank you.
good luck with your foot.
John, I have another adjustment to the agenda,
Okay,
the donation to the Conservation Commission.
okay. That wasn't mine.
Wasn't yours?
No, my adjustment, not my donation. All right, let's jump back to discussion on shingling the Little Red Schoolhouse. Last time we were here, we learned that the shingles had been donated from Lowe's. They are on site, still outside, correct? Yeah, last I know. And then there was some discussion about what color to stain them. And we asked Terry to, I guess the two options were to keep it kind of basically the color it is now. And the other option was to stain them a color that evidently was the historic color of the schoolhouse for many years until the 1950s, I guess. So we asked Terry to put out a notice on the email listserv, and
Carol wrote up something and sent it out.
yeah, Carol wrote it up, that's right, and we sent it out. And we had quite a few responses right at the beginning. I don't know if it was distributed elsewhere or not, if it was,
On the website and on the website.
right, but I meant beyond the town.
Yeah.
If it was was it distributed to the Historical Society membership at all, or?
Yeah, but I didn't get a lot of feedback at
You
the
didn't?
last meeting.
Yeah.
So I guess most of them said that.
Yeah.
And,
All right, so it was discussed at a Historical
Yeah,
Society.
yeah,
Oh,
we had a
okay,
meeting last Thursday.
okay, and can you expand on that a little? I didn't know.
Well, it sounds like there were a couple of issues. So a lot of people wanted the red, and we did take a vote, and then someone said, well, if we let it go natural, we don't have to give anything. But I would think we still put something on to preserve them. So, and then someone else said, oh, I didn't think about that, I'll change my vote. Well, it's up to the selectmen, it's up to you guys what you want, what you think. I mean, you got the town input.
Yeah, and it sounds like the Historical Society does not have a strong opinion. And if anything, it leans toward red, keeping it red.
For people that were there.
Huh? I mean, I know this is not a formal election where you're trying to,
Exactly.
people could have voted twice with Terry, but,
Uh,
and what were the results of your
49 for red, 19 for beige, and 3 said natural.
And the shingles on my house are look natural, they're not shields that way. Yeah, I like them. So, thoughts? Where do people want to go with this? I know you're kind of under the gun to make a decision,
Yeah, I just
Sort
need
of,
to let
yeah,
them know
yeah.
if I need them.
so I'm hoping we can make a decision.
Yeah, well, my preference is red, and that's only because if you look at timeline wise, it's been red probably longer than the original beige color was. So, and
Really?
I mean, if you think about it,
When was it built?
late 1800s, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so 70, okay, all right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
1950s when they
okay.
changed it to red.
For some reason I thought it was mid 1800s, but okay.
Yeah, most of the houses around here. Mid to.
Yeah.
mid
I thought
to
it was a little earlier than late 18, but anyway. Okay. Sue?
I voted for beige myself,
late.
but I see why it's always been known as the Little Red Schoolhouse, and so I think that that's probably why people want the red. 'Cause to them, that's the historical thing. They don't know what the beige
Oh,
is.
there's a lot of strong opinions.
Yeah, and the actual would be great because it would be easier to keep up for the people that have to do it.
Actually, you can have a baking too. If you stain them red with a clear stain or whatever.
Semi.
They'll eventually fade the beige anyway.
Right.
And they'll just leave it.
Our thought was to use a semi-transparent so that it wouldn't, you know, the solid color is gonna show the wear more than a semi-transparent.
Right.
Yeah, and the trouble that I find now is when it peels, it's so noticeable when it's red.
Well, that was painted though, I think.
I think it was too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fade.
Well, some of that stain is, you know, whatever. I voted beige too, because I just felt that, you know, they're gonna try to make it, the Historical Society is gonna try to make the Little Red Schoolhouse a historical.
It was called the Village School.
Right.
originally.
And I noticed that, you know, how ingrained we are, that it even ended up on the agenda as the
I
Little Red Schoolhouse. So, and I also think if we're gonna ask people, which we did,
We should do it.
we should at least listen to them. I mean, if it was like 49 to 47 or something, then that would be different, but. So is there a motion?
Well, I'll make the motion to stain the shingles red for the Little Red Schoolhouse that used to be the village.
And I will second that.
And further discussion. And when you say red, I just want to make sure we're all assuming it's gonna match as closely as
Yeah.
possible.
I'm
The-
good with the color. so
The
I'm-
current red.
Yeah,
So it doesn't end up
No,
like.
fire engine.
Yeah, fire engine.
Yeah.
So I think that's inherent in the motion, even though it's not stated, so. Further discussion.
I do have one question
Okay.
regarding that schoolhouse. We're gonna add on
Are
the,
we talking about the shingles?
Yeah.
Because if not, I'd like to take the vote.
okay,
and then you
no,
can.
it's not shingle.
Okay, because I'll forget. So further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, good.
On the historical side building, we have the historical society sign. We want to add museum to it. We'd like to put a sign on the front of the building, but it's your building, so I don't know what we need to
On
do
the
if you would,
Front,
where the front door is on the Dublin Road side.
There used to be the sign for library.
yeah, but you said on the building or just
Yeah.
in front of the building?
On the building.
On the building.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I never need, I'm just
Yeah.
exploring on the building.
And the lease agreement allows you to do the signs, you just have to have our approval.
Well-
Technically, I don't even think it's approval, it's, I think it's, with the concurrence of the select board.
So what I would do is, I'm just starting to explore if I get something.
Yeah,
then I
just
can
ask
bring it
Terry
in.
to put it on the agenda and we
Okay.
can go from there. Okay,
Thank you.
all righty. I have talked to a couple of contractors, asking if they would have any interest in doing, a section or two, local contractors, and I have not had a lot of luck. I mean, maybe next fall, a year from now.
We will try too.
So I'm not hopeful that we're gonna find somebody, and it's getting late again, although I've certainly shingled in December, and as long as it's on the sunny side. The trouble is, I think there's a lot of other work that needs to be done. I think some of the trim work needs to be replaced, or
Right.
certainly painted, and once it gets below a certain temperature, you can't do that.
Well, here's the thing too, Lowe's is donating the shingles, but also the stain and replacing one of the old windows.
Right,
And some of the trim and the paint trim. So I wanted, and apparently in the confusion at Lowe's, they lost the original list. So I'm thinking, whatever we think we need, let's add it on the list, because they're donating it, so.
yeah. Well, I went down and walked around and looked at it pretty extensively, and I thought to myself, well, maybe I would volunteer to do one little section as a volunteer, and I've done a lot of shingling in the past, and then I got looking at the trim, a lot of the trim is in tough shape, and I'm thinking, we're gonna reshingle this, we should be replacing some of the trim, and we do have money
Right,
for that upkeep of that building, if it's something
Right.
Lowe's isn't gonna donate.
right.
But then,
I think the roof is gonna need some.
yeah, the roof is
Not too bad,
Cool, but yeah, actually, I think Penny's father did it last. He was in the contracting business, I remember. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna have to work hand in hand on
I
that.
figured we should get that stained in hand and before we look for contractors, if we want to make
Yeah,
sure we have all the
that's good.
materials we
Yeah.
need to replace the window or whatever.
Yeah,
and then try to go out
and
and
they'll have to be insured because they'll actually be
Definitely.
contracting with the town,
Right,
so.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
yeah, I think that's enough for tonight on that. We'll keep moving. All right, let's talk about, anybody want anything they want to take out of order here?
No.
Let's talk about the discussion on the second tranche of ARPA funds. We had a list, or I mentioned several things at the last meeting as possible. We've already spent, help me again, Terry, what the total was on this, that we had,
That we have left.
yeah, after we spent the money for the repeater, which is the only thing that's come out of the second tranche, right?
Yeah.
I don't recall.
Pull it up here, it's just moving slow because we're remoting.
But anyways, in the minutes we just approved, I think is the list that was talked about briefly at the last meeting, so no decisions made, we tabled it, Jeff, as you were. You were absent. I think that's in there, isn't it, Terry, in the minutes?
It's in your back, too, right?
Yes.
Same.
Oh, it is? Okay,
There's $73,100 and 18 cents.
so 73. Just keep it using my mind.
No, did we already buy the owl from the library?
Yes, that has been paid for.
Okay,
The owl,
yeah.
so I mean, but we have not bought another TV.
No.
And there was some discussion about buying another TV. So, I've sort of already thrown out my list. I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I'd like you guys to get thoughts, in addition to those, so, to throw out some ideas. You don't have to, if you don't have any.
The only other thing I've got is, I think even if it's just a small amount, I think we ought to put some of it to paving.
Okay,
Okay,
What paving?
paving.
We've got a lot of paving projects that are going over budget.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're gonna get any more done this year though, but it could be in the spring,
Right.
which, and we got a couple of years on this, and our fiscal year now runs to June, so,
So we have until then.
yeah. Well, actually, we could carry it over and even have longer than that, but.
Or just say 10,000 to the community center, is that for anything in particular, or?
No, I'm sorry, what?
Isn't that for the owl?
The house already.
No, the owls
That's
are.
already purchased, and that was
Yeah,
1,000, just under 1,000.
Yeah, I just, that was just my suggestion that we could give, and I'm not wedded to 10,000, but I just thought, given all the activity and everything that's happening there, that it would be nice to assist with further developing that. I still am under hoping that the two energy centers of our building committee and the library can better merge and become one energy center. But I'm beginning to think I'm the eternal optimist on that, but, I didn't have anything particular in mind, but it wasn't for building stuff. It was more, I started more for programming stuff and, and again, Penny's not here tonight, but she often is. I was hoping that she maybe would think about a few things that they could use it for, but that was just an idea. So, go ahead.
I would like to suggest that the money be invested instead of kind of smoke, spent.
We can't
Like,
invest it.
well, not
We have to
invested
spend
in a financial instrument, but what I mean is more leveraged and used in conjunction with possible grants to help this building, for instance, acquire the heat pumps, and also look into installation of solar panels, in which case, the heating system of the building could be free. And that would be a way to have a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, that, one of the things we did mention was, ventilation. I think we did mention heat pump here, but I don't see it in the notes, but,
But that would, again, provide
Mm-hmm.
synergy with all the sustainability programming that we're looking to do.
I guess
Heat
my.
pumps would also help with the ventilation and get a lot of moisture out of
Yeah.
the building, and
Yeah.
I know in the
Yeah.
back there, it gets, the air gets a little
I
bad.
thought when we talked about the heat pump, we thought that was more for the
That other grant.
other grant thing.
Well, I think we mentioned that other grant, plus I think there's quite a bit of different energy related money available. That is not as free in terms of use as this money is, but.
But even the grants may not cover the whole amount.
No, it may not, right, but that's a possibility. Which at this point, we're just kind of listing possibilities, but we could move on a few things. So any other ideas at this point? And actually, I would like to move on to something. I feel that, I feel strongly that we need to buy out some of Terry's vacation time. I feel like we're abusing her. And I think it is COVID related, because you can't keep someone in that seat for it's sort of COVID related. And she's working here all kinds of hours and doesn't even get an opportunity to take her vacation. Terry, I had asked you to put, I don't know if you put something together. I asked you to put what you would carry forward and so can you just walk us through this, Terry, so that you're not quickly getting it?
So I was hired in February of 21, and after 6 months, I got my 3 weeks vacation, which was 120 hours, because my pay is based on 40 hours a week. Pay period 2/28/22, I used 9 hours. Pay period ending 8/8/22, I used 40 hours. So that left me 71 hours to carry forward.
What is leaving?
So 71 to carry forward, so I And
I missed that number.
that's because it's not in there.
Oh.
It is in the next line.
So that when in August of 22, when the next year came around, I got 120 more hours. And so that leaves me, I have 191 hours of vacation time.
Okay, so that's with the 71 that you, so 71 was what you should have used last year
Yes,
that you didn't get a chance to use.
Yeah.
Okay. That was kind of one of the key numbers I was looking for. And now you have
every
100.
time I plan vacation, someone quits.
I know.
Or gets
Or
sick,
Michelle
or
goes.
gets sick, or
Gets
has
sick,
surgery.
or- right,
Just don't tell anybody you're going on
Yeah.
vacation.
So then you took your salary and divided by 52 weeks and came up with sort of an hourly rate, for lack of a better word, even though you're on salary.
Yeah.
Assuming 40 hours, which is a misnomer in and of itself. So at a minimum, I would like to buy out personally Terry's 71 hours at like 120% or 150% of her rate, because I mean, I just feel strongly that, you know, if she didn't get to take it, she should at least get something additional for it. I mean, we can revisit this further down the road, but that's, I guess what I would propose at a minimum is we take that hourly rate of
31,
34, multiply times 1.5 times 71. I don't know what that comes to. That's just my thought. Doesn't mean. Which would be, anybody do that?
$3,348.36.
And with any associated, FICA and Medicare, so which would be 7%. 7.65% more. That wouldn't go terribly, but
right, that was wrong.
that has to, so,
Does our policy require you to take it or lose it?
It applies if I carry more than 5 hours, that I have definition from the selectboard.
which you forgot to do. So, okay, produce my idea.
Well, that could be.
So on the books, technically, what's on the book is
5 hours.
No, 125. Yeah, and so I'm just because of that reason, because that was during the pandemic when it was, we could argue that it was caused easy.
Yeah. Yeah, although I have I mean, I think we all are remiss in, you know, obviously, we probably should have dealt with the request to carry it forward, but I think we were all crazy at the time, and we didn't do it, and so, I have no interest in taking that away from Terry, because we missed that
No,
out of my deadline. Because I'm afraid you might walk out the door. So is there, other thoughts or emotion or anything, or?
I'll make the motion that we buy back, is that what we're doing? Terry's 71 hours at the 120%, is that how we do it?
I have to say that's crazy.
What, to give you extra?
Yeah,
Well, it should be something extra,
why?
because your vacation is something you should. be able to take.
110?
Why not just get my regular rate? I'm fine with that. I mean,
I,
I could have said, hey, guys, too bad I'm taking my vacation.
you could have, but you wouldn't have,
No,
and that's why you should be rewarded.
no.
Well, it should be at least 110% at a minimum. You should get something out of it.
I'm getting.
No,
I didn't lose it.
You don't have any say in that. You don't have any.
So
say in that.
obviously, I don't need to say what I was gonna say, and this is nothing Terry asked for. Well, I won't vote for it if it's not at least 110%. So you
So I
won't
make
get,
the
so you won't get
motion.
anything.
That we buy back Terry's vacation to 71 hours at 110%,
Which is
which is how much?
$2,455.58.
2,450.
No, that's $2,455.46.
Yeah, but let's not
It
forget,
gives me
Plus-
some kind of decimal.
Plus all associated taxes.
yeah, well, the town's piece, I mean,
Right.
Terry's gonna have to pay her.
Right, yeah.
And I definitely second that.
Okay, so, further discussion? All those in favor?
Well, thank you.
All right, so I don't know what if you can give us a number, once you figure out the FICA and stuff like that, that would be, and try to take some vacation. Because it's important for
I
you.
keep trying.
I know. It's
Right now,
important for your
my
mental
plan
health.
is to take some at Christmas, so,
Yeah,
do the
you
same
always
thing
have a
here.
plan.
yes, I do. I'm gonna have
Okay.
to start taking days.
Is there anything else we want to move on tonight? I'm trying to pull together a meeting of the tennis court group. And I have several scenarios that I'm working on. The most expensive of which would be, well, the most expensive thing we could do would be to tear up both courses and build them anew, but that's too expensive. But one thought that we are thinking about is tear up one of the courses, build them anew. And that's probably gonna be, we'd have to resubmit our grant application. And that's probably gonna be, in today's dollars, somewhere around 80 to 90,000. Half of that could be funded by the grant, but we still need to come up with half, 50% match. We have some on hand. I can't remember how much it is, like $8,000 or something like that, Terry, do you recall? So I'm trying to pull this working group together to say, do we even want to go to the select board and say, this is our recommendation? Do you think we realistically, well, we have 15 from the town and 8 or something in donation, so that's like 23. I would, so we need half of, just a round number, say we need half of 80, so that's 40. So is it realistic, and it's probably more like 90 by the time we get to it, so is it realistic for us to be able to raise this money? And I think if we could take some of this money to kind of kickstart that effort, that might be helpful. Now, we don't need to commit it at this point, because we don't even know if it's gonna happen. But I'd like to be able to have a discussion that, at least in concept, the board might support that when I try to get this working group back together, if I can ever get them together again. And when I talk to the state about resubmitting the grant. So you can only modify our current grant by 20%, and this would be a more, so we'd have to pull that grant and reapply. So I guess I'm asking if the board would at least consider that when the time came, that, you know, we maybe take 10 grand of this and put it towards that.
And I'd be willing to go even.
I think you might need more than 10.
Well, yeah, I haven't talked about specific numbers, but, okay, so it sounds like conceptually, we can have that conversation, and then when we come back to you, and maybe this group will say, no, we don't think we can raise that kind of money, and that's a long-term investment too, so that's kind of fits with Catherine's.
Right.
For which I would like, in that circumstance, since it's a recreational things, offer the town to put like a matching fund. So if the group can raise $5,000, then the town could put $5,000 from that other fund.
Yeah, that was one of the things we kicked around, was we
Like,
could use
you
it as
know, you provide the incentive of the free
Right.
ARPA money for that.
that was one of the things we had kicked around, was if we could use maybe some of this, we could perhaps, no decisions were made, but perhaps use it as a match, and hold it out there and say, you know, if you donate $1,000 business X, you know, the town is gonna put 1,000 in from that, but anyway, okay. So, anything else we need to talk about this tonight? Does someone wanna talk to someone about a potential heat pump in here? Are we talking just in here, or are we talking in other?
Well, what do you need in
The
the
whole building.
ventilation back there, right? What did you need in
This
the,
is- We talked about ventilation for this one.
Yeah.
or air?
Does Amy Shepherd's husband do heat pump? Can't remember his name.
Oh, I don't remember his name either.
I would reach out to Amy and ask her if he,
Yeah,
quite sure he doesn't.
yeah, well, what do you think of the priorities here? I don't think we have enough money to even think of ventilating the whole building. But, and out there, I'm not sure we need to.
We shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, so I was thinking this room,
Well, it says air filters for town office and back room. Is there a system there that, for air filters in?
no,
I put the office,
Yeah,
and I think we were just thinking more
just little,
like the portable.
Air
filter,
purifier, yeah.
something to get rid of some of the molding we have there.
yeah. That's not healthy.
well, maybe we could
I'll
find
definitely look
someone,
for that.
maybe we could find someone who could help us kind of evaluate you know, what we could do here and perhaps use it as a match as well. That gets complicated, but,
I work with somebody whose husband's an electrician, he does heat pumps too, so I could
okay, yeah.
ask her too.
All right.
The TV for the library.
Yeah, I don't know, have we determined whether or not we actually need one for that?
There are already two there, if I'm not
Yeah, I
mistaken.
think
Cause she put that big one this year.
Yeah, but it didn't plug in.
Oh, it didn't work.
she has one there that, I don't remember where she said she got it, and she feels that, I mean, it's kind because she's not here, but she said she feels that it's
All right,
good enough.
well, that's not a huge amount anyway.
Yeah.
And the only thing wrong with that is you just can't use HDMI. It has like 4 different ways to look at it.
But the owl hooks into the,
So it has to have HDMI.
well,
That's
this
all right.
owl has the, it was this part that coming from here.
Because the only thing
Yeah,
wrong
she
with that
looked at
TV,
it.
yeah, the only thing wrong with that TV was the HDMI port.
Right.
It was bad, but all the other ports were good. That looks
I wonder
like,
if she looked into seeing if you could,
I think it's last meeting I was at, she said something about,
Well,
it was working.
why don't you, can you follow up with her before the next meeting, because that's not a huge amount anyway, so. Anything else anybody wants to move on tonight, or maybe start some? I'll do some work on the paving. I think if we use it at all to match our paving, I'd rather do it for around here. That was on our list, and that's more, yeah, that's more related to the ambulance and the fire and stuff, yeah. So I'll look on that, I'm not sure anything's gonna happen. It's still really high. It's come down a little bit, but it's still, you know, it's maybe come down, liquid asphalt maybe come down $10 or something, 20 maybe at the most. We're still talking like, you know, $800 a ton, which is a lot. Okay. We can kind of keep that moving as we go. Oh, why don't we, since Penny's not here, why don't, if we, anyone object if we ask her to maybe come up with a list of things that she potentially could use some money for down there for, again, not building stuff, but sort of activity stuff. Okay, would you do that? Yeah. And when is our deadline on this? It's quite a ways, but getting closer. 2 years? December 23 or 4?
23. It seemed like forever when it happened.
Yeah, but now
Time's going by.
we have to spend this money by a certain date. And when we first got it, it seemed like it was forever away, but
And we met our first reporting deadline. Right?
Yeah.
It's April.
well, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I thought I had.
I mean, it's still a ways away, but it's not as far away as it was. Okay. Moving on. Planning board bylaws. We tabled this from the last one. You said that it's not in our packet, right? Because we had the meeting before. Jeff, we tabled it because you were sort of the.
Yeah, and right away, the copy we had last time, didn't have the paragraph change, the primary paragraph change in the main body that we needed when it was approved. Even though it was dated August of 22,
August 18, 22, is that what you're working for?
yeah, if you go to the most important paragraph that we were concerned about, which is, it's near the end, it's,
Not in the addendum?
12, yeah, not
Yeah.
just prior. to it.
Yeah.
So it's paragraph 12, it isn't changed at all.
At the meeting, I noticed you had distributed something which didn't include any of the changes, so I told him it was missing them.
Yeah, so,
Oh, that has to become, the amendments have to come in front of the select board for final approval.
correct.
That
So-
was, and that was actually in the ordinance
Right.
change, was it not?
Yes, yes.
So it actually doesn't even need to be in the bylaws, doesn't hurt if it's in there, but
Well,
but it can't be contradictory.
right, yeah,
Right.
it almost has, that they mention amendments and they say that it becomes effective upon adoption by a majority vote of their board. And that needs to change.
Because that's not what the ordinance says now.
So what I think happened, and I hate to do this because we bounced it back and forth so many times. We don't have a copy of what you guys agreed to. We have none of the changes.
I will look in my computer, I have one, because things there have been so many copies.
Yeah,
And so what I think he did is he just pulled up an old one and assumed it was, I don't know what it was.
I mean, if you can send your latest with all your comments, that would help.
Okay,
well, you did that,
I did it.
yeah.
And I think they have incorporated them into the addenda.
Well,
Although
that was my question.
I thought they had agreed to just take out number 4. Because it says that you require notification for these items. And then in the following paragraph, it says that you need notification and public hearing for the exact thing that those things are.
I know we have to do that.
And I thought you did too. Letters of notification are required for either of the.
Well,
following cases.
they're not exactly in there, though. There's no site disturbance.
No, that's the only part that, yeah, that one.
We seem to go round and round and round on this, but that's not in there.
Yeah, you're right.
So 4 simply says you require that for those two things, a letter of notification is required.
Right.
It was the first part of 4. And then that's A and B, and then it goes back to 1. I don't even get the lettering formatting, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Huh?
So then it goes, proposals concerning the following will require letters of notification and a public hearing. So that's where that one comes.
But what I don't, and this is getting really picky and simple, but it starts out as 1,
Right.
2, 3, 4, and then it has 4A and B, and then it starts out as 1 again.
Yeah.
It's weird formatting, and I wasn't even gonna bring it up, but it drives me crazy. Yeah,
When do you guys meet again?
Tomorrow night,
Okay.
no, Thursday, tomorrow is conservation commission. And then and Thursday, we have the hearing for the, old one.
I will send you and Irv a copy of what I think,
That's
We should
fine.
be looking and what I would like you to do is just approve what I send you.
Yeah,
And then at our next meeting, we can approve.
yeah,
And I'll make, and I will, the only other thing I'm planning to do is make that formatting recommendation that you talked about.
okay.
Which may change the wording a little bit, it's not before, but I'll put it.
I mean, can you send it to everybody from the town, or this way we can all work from the same copy?
The only thing is I don't have everybody's. I've got yours and
Gary,
I've got Gabe's.
and then there is only one.
Yeah, Jenny,
So
Cindy,
Cindy,
I can send you that.
okay.
we still don't have a full complement there, or any alternate.
I can just tell you what it is, Jim.
Yeah, shoot.
Let me find it.
You haven't changed yours.
CLB also.
Yeah.
CLB,
TLB.
C,
C from Southland.
I think it's the same.
Okay.
It's the same.
Doesn't change.
So I think it's CGINN 63.
CGNIN.
CGINN at 63@gmail.
CGINN.
CGINN 63
Okay.
@gmail.
Yeah, I didn't even read this, because I was kind of waiting for you to look it over, but, I do think it pretty much kind of got there.
Yeah, I agree. That part pretty much got there. It's different than what I thought they were gonna do.
Right.
But it does.
But I think at least now, major projects, we're gonna get some sort of notification out. And that's in my opinion. Okay. Discussion of tax acquired property. Just so you know, we table this, although I think the sense of, I don't want to speak for you, but I think our sense was that we wouldn't, even if you were here, two of us wouldn't have voted. to accept it.
And I agree as well.
I mean, someone's trying to get something really cheap.
But now who were the two bidders? Who were they?
Great.
Great.
Well, I
Yeah.
know that.
Christopher Porio, Jake
Right.
Weisberg, and Dan Ford. 12,000, excuse me, well, obviously, there's no sense in doing the warranty deed. The split was nowhere near what it's gonna cost to do it.
Right.
At least under this scenario. So then the quitclaim deed was there were two at 9,250, right? And one at 6,000. And as Terry and I both said, well, if it's not gonna be that cheap, I would have bid. But, so I suggest I think we got two options. We can put it out to bid, or we can just let it sit for a while.
That's my preference.
Wait,
Let it
Let
sit.
sit for a while.
Just, if you think these bids are rapidly, if you ever put it out again, you could say, we will
Yeah.
not consider any bid on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we could do that.
Then they're just wasting your time.
And one of them even gave us a deposit.
Yeah. Has that been returned? No, because
We hadn't made it.
we didn't formally reject them, that's right.
There are an envelopes not ready to go.
And we didn't ask for a deposit either,
No, we
so
didn't.
I don't know why we did that, so.
What was the donation?
So, yeah, that's my inclination too, is, I mean, we bid out that property down below here. Where if I remember right, they had to go in and the first thing they had to do was tear the old building down. And that was 15 years ago, and that was in the 20s or something. I mean, I can't remember the exact number, but I mean, so I was thinking, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was thinking a lot more than 9,000. So is there a motion to table,
I'd make a motion that we formally reject
okay,
all three bids and returning the deposits that made.
okay. Is there a
I'll
second?
second that motion.
Okay, further discussion? All in favor? So Terry, you'll just send notes to people just so they know that we formally rejected all of them.
Yep.
Now, do we want to make a motion just to sit on it, or can we just let it?
I think
We can just do that. If we don't do anything, that means
Right,
we'll just
sitting
sit
on
on
it,
it.
right.
Okay. Um. Okay, fire truck lease purchase. So this seemed to get a little confused, huh?
Real quick.
Yeah. So, I don't even know where to start here. For some reason, they being the lease finance company, thought we were borrowing the entire cost of both trucks, which was not the case. And that's what that original proposal was based on, and their interest rate. And then when they learned that we were only borrowing 438, only 438, the interest rate jumped fairly dramatically. So, and now they sent us today a lease purchase with the new numbers with a higher interest rate and the payment schedule and all the other paperwork, and the date to finalize it seems to have changed from the 19th to the 15th, which doesn't give us much time to send it by Kristen.
I did bring that up to Mark, and he said as long as we have signed papers before October 1st,
Oh,
the interest rate is set.
so now it's changed again. And I was thinking that's because they probably changed the interest rate when they changed the interest rate. So I guess, and you also said that you spoke to someone in Machias who.
Yes, and I got an email from him when I got back tonight, and he said with the way the rates are, there's nothing he can offer as a option for.
Some sort of lock-in, yeah, okay. So, where do we want to go?
Well, I had assumed from the beginning that we were buying the little truck.
Well, I kind of did too, and I never mentioned it. But
It would be silly to finance the little truck over that.
yeah, and have a lien on two of them, and, yeah, I mean, that just,
And I think last time we decided not to do this.
what? No, we decided to go with the lease purchase. I voted against it. You did. But then they changed the interest rate because they learned we weren't borrowing the 828, which, and it was the dumbest email, I mean, that I ever saw in my life. When he sent an email saying he's gonna check with Greenwood to see how many trucks we're buying and how much we're borrowing. Why are you gonna check with Greenwood? We know what we're buying and how much we're buying. So, I mean, so that right there doesn't give me much faith, so. But, so, we obviously need to well, I don't know, did we have I can't remember if we had a motion, if the motion had the interest rate in it. I don't think it did.
I don't think it did either. We're gonna find a minute.
So if you guys want to move forward with this, I think we can ship it off to Kristen.
What did it go up from?
Over half a point.
And what was the interest rate we had from the bank, or is that not?
Well,
that
the
rate
trouble with that
anymore?
is, it's not locked.
Right. You'd have to borrow it right now.
Right,
Yeah, their new interest rate is 4.59%,
And before it was,
3.98.
so it jumped because
and we wouldn't be borrowing it right away, right?
Yeah, we would,
We would.
yeah.
But we don't need to.
Well, that was my point. Back when I voted against this, that I said, I think we should just take the gamble and when we need it, go borrow it. I don't know, and I feel more, and now seeing their confusion, I feel even stronger that way. But I lost.
The 3.57 which I had previously quoted, if we borrowed it now, could we get that rate?
I didn't ask him that today. I was just asking him.
If
I
you could
explained
give
the
us
whole lease situation to her, to see if they could do anything.
the other thing is you can't run into arbitrage. Well, you know, you can't earn money after borrowing. There's a certain amount, it's complicated, but, you know, you can't borrow money, you squirrel it
Put it
away and
back
make money
away,
off it
right.
when you're taking the tax. I don't know the details, and the law may have changed, but that's a consideration that we might have a problem with. I do think it is a fair amount of money. It may not qualify down at 438,000. And would anybody ever look?
We don't have to pay them money.
We decided, we did vote not to take advantage of the discount.
But we don't have to pay them money to get the truck until it's delivered, which is gonna be a year. And we have money.
We have enough money to buy
The
the small truck, yeah. Although I've never seen a brake on it, to be honest with you, the two.
And I asked for that today too, and he said he would get it.
Yeah, I saw it a
Long time ago, yeah.
But, and I don't experience, but I've had to do. it.
Yeah.
Well, then, I make a motion that we sell. Which is what we decided, well, we almost have to, that, because we've already moved and approved, their previous proposal, their new proposal.
Well, contingent upon our attorney review, once they got the final,
Right,
Right,
and they didn't have the final documents to it.
yeah,
They now
and
have,
now they do and they're different.
yeah.
and I wouldn't, I'm not even interested in taking that to the attorney, I don't think.
Yeah, and then, you know, that's gonna be an expense. And we don't have to, when we borrow from the Machias, we're not gonna have to do that. And I don't know, it just seems crazy to me that we're borrowing money so far ahead of time when we have no idea that, you know, now, of course, if the interest are 11% a year and a half, now you guys will be.
I know. And to be frank, I just don't see anything down with you here,
Well,
but,
you know, we're not gonna answer that question. As I said last time, if we could,
that's where we were last.
if we could, none of us would be sitting here.
Right.
tonight.
Exactly.
So, do you wanna,
Make a motion that we not approve the current offer.
can I ask, is that because of the interest rate increase?
Partially.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just was wondering if, Terry's gonna have to notify them now that we've asked them to do all this paperwork.
And
Yeah.
to be frank, the other part of it is that I don't understand why they didn't know this, which makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it does make sense. So, you can just tell them, right, that we felt uncomfortable, that they were so confused, and the interest rate jump, which was fairly substantial.
So I will make that.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
You seem a little hesitant.
No, I'm not having.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you a chance to. Further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. So Terry, you'll talk to them and.
Yep.
Probably better let Brian know, because he'll be. Because I'm sure that salesman's gonna call Brian, and Brian's not gonna know anything about it. And you know what I mean?
You're just not gonna do
Wait.
anything until. later?
Yeah, we're not doing anything right now. I mean, you know, we're not rescinding the order of the trucks.
Right.
We're just talking about the finance.
Right.
now. Yeah. Okay, discussion of the evaluation difference with the state and the impact on the homestead and veterans exemption this year. We touched upon this when Kevin was here.
And matter of fact, it answered most of my questions. But I think what I'm most uncomfortable about is that the last time this happened to us, where we were going to impact the tax breaks to citizens based on the fact that our assessment of the town differed from the state. It was pointed out to us that because of where we are, it's gonna impact us, and we went into it with both eyes open. This time, I didn't even have a clue. And I don't know if I just missed it. I think part of it is that the certified ratio declaration form that we turned in, I don't think we ever checked any of the blocks.
Well, we weren't supposed
No, we were,
to. No, it says if it was between 77 and 94.
and it's 94.
But that's not between 77 and 94.
I think
And I
that's
think
a
that
quote.
was Jay, that's what Jay said.
But,
That's just what you just said.
well, that's what it does say.
Right. And I think this is another reason to just have one person here.
Yeah,
With, I mean, at this point, we do have one person, Jay, but I think things sometimes there's miscommunication between the two of them, and someone, that one would think one was doing something, the other one would think the other was doing something.
So, there's nothing we're gonna do about it this year.
no, and the sad part is that, I mean, we're only talking small amount. I mean, we're talking $20 of tax relief that's impacted by it.
On what valuation?
It doesn't make any difference, because it's based on how much.
Oh, it's based on the 25.
Right.
Yeah, whether you got $1 million home or $100,000.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct, so it's gonna be somewhere around. But the thing is, this is the year everybody's locking in. And so now they're locking in at $20 less than they would have if we had done something about this earlier, or even anticipated.
Well, we were told, I distinctly remember, saying that because it was 94, we didn't have to check one of those boxes.
I do remember asking the
Because,
question.
yeah, I remember you asking it too.
And
And it clearly says if the ratio is not between, check the appropriate loss law. Oh, actually, it says not between.
it says not. It says-
So it is, so 94 is not between that.
Right.
So we should have checked one of those boxes.
That's
We
how
were
I
told
interpret,
not to,
that's how I interpreted it
Yeah.
at the time.
but we were told we didn't have to because it was 94 by someone. I think you actually told us, but you relayed it from. yeah.
Right, it was at the next meeting, because you had dealt with it, so and I don't know, if we had done something like checked option 2, there's no check mark there, and checked that first block, a total reevaluation, or if we check the second block, which I think is more appropriate, a partial reevaluation or market-based adjustment will be implemented this year, that we wouldn't have been hit with the 94%.
Oh, I think we would have. I think that's my impression.
I think if we had.
I mean, anybody can check a box.
Right, well, it'd be the next year that we didn't do it, then they're gonna go, whoa.
Yeah,
But I think if we had told them we're going to adjust, then they would not have applied it. But now, having said that, I do think we need to adjust.
well, let's talk with whoever our assessor is after January 1st.
I don't think we need a revow, because and that's the other thing. When we were doing this before, we got a sheet that showed us what areas.
Yeah, Jerry has that.
I have what?
You have that sheet. When you would dig far into the folder, when I was asking you to look at this today, I saw it in that folder.
Oh, right.
That compares
Compared to
areas.
waterfront versus non-waterfront versus.
Yeah, there were like three different categories.
Yeah, but I thought maybe this was before you got on the board, but I thought we kind of knew we were getting a little out of whack there, but we kind of wanted to wait. The thinking is this housing price dramatic increase, is that sort of a little bubble that's gonna kind of self-correct?
I think it is, but again, they used 2 years ago information. So we're gonna see this for the next 2 years, minimum.
Yeah.
Probably longer. But I do think that bubble is gonna.
Well, let's look at that at the next agenda, because I hate to say this, but I think it again is the waterfront property that's.
Although,
You know, people stop retirement.
not in relation to.
Yeah. Although.
And that's what, you know, let's look at the data, but, you
Right.
know, that tends to be the history here.
Historically, that is true, but I think over the last few years, it's been almost everything. Which is why I would like to see what. those-
Well, and again, if everybody's treated equally and fairly,
Except you lose the 6%.
right, exactly, yeah.
And if we know that going in, I'm not quite as set back by it, but I had no clue, and usually that's one of the things that
Yeah, well, you had other stuff going on, sure. I mean, I was a little taken back by surprise when Rob mentioned that at the when we did the commitment, but I, you know, at that point, we were well into it, and like you say, didn't seem like a huge deal, and, so let's put this whole matter on the next agenda, pull out some of those documents, look at that data. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Terry, where they have the,
I don't, but I know the 3 folders that I had out, so I'll
Yeah.
look through
well, they list sales,
them. Okay,
and then they list them versus what we have them valued at.
okay.
By airline.
Well, I think
Zone.
I think it's just waterfront versus non-waterfront versus undeveloped land or something different.
Yeah, that might be.
Yeah, and you know, you can look at the differences between the sale prices, and you gotta be able to call out some of them are obviously not arm's length sales.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody buys something that we have valued at 580,000 for $20,000. But, you know, that's a family member or something, you know, but, so that gets a little tricky too. I think they try to cull those out, actually, what they consider non-arm's length sales, but if we could get that ahead of time, we can take a peek at that.
Could I admit, back if you're between, what is it? Whatever, in 94, that's ambiguous.
Yeah.
Their own guidelines are ambiguous, because you don't know if the edge numbers are in or out.
Usually it says inclusive or not.
Yeah.
They should have written it differently. It should have said something like, anything at bottom number
Up to, but
up
not
to, but
exceeding.
not exceeding top number.
And I
And
agree
if
with you,
they
100.
did that,
It would have triggered more, but the problem is, it's the state, and here's what their answer is gonna be. Your assessor's agent knows what that means, because it's part of what the assessor's agent should be doing. And so they're taught, when you fill this form out, here's, like, he knew what the bottom number was and 100, and what the top number is, 110%. That's because he's taking classes
Yeah.
as an
right.
assessor's agent, and he knows what it is, and that's gonna be-
And then are they also saying, you shouldn't fill out these forms without the assessor's agent holding your hand? Is that?
Oh, yes, that's why we have an assessor.
Okay, so that's why we're stuck. But it is a terrible piece of writing.
Yes, I agree.
Well, no, that's in the negative.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more.
It is, right,
Yeah.
go around again.
But again, I don't wanna make too much of it, because it's not like,
Not to use it now.
no, I mean, we're not talking a major catastrophe here, full power on our part.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, it's a TV audience and, you know.
Right,
so.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. We certainly made worse.
But still not as bad as, it's almost.
Okay, assessment agents we did. So modified MDO snow and ice control agreement, I assume this is for 131?
Yeah.
I didn't get through the packet as much as I should have. Actually, I didn't look at this at all. So does this keep up with our price increase in the snowball contract?
We don't have a increase in the snowplow contract this year.
No, we did last year, though. I mean, when it was ahead then?
Yes.
Okay. So we're actually, for lack of a better word, still making money on it.
Yeah.
Although there is a fuel escalator. And is there a fuel escalator?
Jim has a fuel escalator.
Right, but is there one in the MDOD contract? Probably not. I haven't read it.
I can tell you that MDOT authorizes. fuel.
Yeah. So I've learned.
Yeah.
So Terry, you're good with this in terms of?
Yeah.
So they're basically increasing it from 72,377. I mean, excuse me, from 69,37132 to 72,37701.
So they increased it by 15% this time. Traditionally, they only do a 2%.
15. That's not 15%.
So they say,
Well, 69 to 72 is not 15% increase.
It says from 2 to 15.
Says the range is 2 to 15. I think that's I mean, a 10% increase would be 6,900. Right? It's nowhere near 15, it's more like 2.
That's very odd. Says this contract was originally established to have a 2% escalation factor. The total contract amount each year, due to unanticipated increases in fuel and commodities during 2022, a 15% escalation factor has been applied to the 22 to 23.
Where, I don't see that.
In the appendix.
The back of the first page.
Oh, here it is. It's only applied to the snow portion of it.
To the total contract. No, doesn't say that. Says the 15 has been applied to the 2000 season only. No, it's not right, right?
I don't think it is.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, on the front page, it says the increase is the result of an annual escalator increase from 2% to 15% for 2023, 2022.
Yeah, that's boilerplate.
Yeah, but it's not.
Well, it's 2, but they said they were gonna increase to 15, but it doesn't look like they did.
Correct.
Okay, so I don't think we can sign this thing.
Do we have, what's the deadline? Some were confused by their language again.
Well, I just think they did it wrong. Because, good catch, Jeff. So that's a $3,005.69 increase divided by. Yeah, it's gonna be about 2%. No, 4.3. Which doesn't jive at all with the 11. Well, is there a motion to table this and ask Terry to
So moved.
look into why they say on one page it's gonna be 15% and why the increase is not 15%? I mean, I'm not crazy, right?
Yeah.
69,000 to 72,000 is not a 15%
It
increase.
should be 7,
But
79.
I think they're saying the only increases on the 2023 Yeah, the 22,
Coming year.
23 year, the
Right.
23, whatever it was, went to 26.
Oh, that's right, too. This is really strange. It says total initial cost 26,000. I'm totally confused.
The front page says the same thing. The increase is the result of an annual escalator increase from 2% to 15%. For 22 to 23 winter season. That's exactly, this is.
Well,
And the 22, 23 annual.
oh,
amount was
whoa, I get it.
23.
I get it. This contract only covers the third payment.
Right, we've already done the first two.
No, that's not right. That's for winter season 2021.
Where
It's almost like they get somebody else's second and first page mixed up. How much do we actually get? Isn't it 20,000?
23, 120 was what we got last year.
Is that true?
And this year, we're
Okay.
supposed to get 23, 5, 83.
So the
17.
69,000 this is a 3-year agreement.
That 69,000 is the
Yeah,
3 years
okay,
together, and the
okay.
increase is in the third year.
Okay. So I think it probably is right then. I don't understand why we're in the middle of this anyway. Why don't they just contract with him directly?
Right, because that's what they did a bazillion years ago, is they said, we're not gonna be in the middle of it, so we're just gonna pay it for it.
That's their road. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be right.
So
After all that,
this one, the billing summary is correct. That's 15%.
And if you add those 3 years together, you should get
that's 69.
the 69.
Yeah, okay,
I mean, the 72.
Yeah,
it is correct.
okay, so it only applies to the one.
Yeah, 15%. Okay, we're good.
So then I move that we authorize Terry
Sure.
to sign the contract with
I'll second that.
Further discussion? I just want to say, I'll vote for this because it's the 3-year agreement that I wasn't around when we negotiated, but I truly don't understand why we're in the middle of this. And before we just simply renew it again next year. Assuming I'm here. I think we need to, why are we in the middle of this? I mean,
I remember from years ago, when we did it, we were actually getting more.
I know, but you think
and
about
it
the,
increased.
you think about the liability, it puts us in the path of liability, you know, and I just don't understand. It's their road, they fought it for 100 million years with their own trucks. And I understand why they didn't want to do that, because they left Waldo Road, came all the way to the Rocky line, turned around, and went all the way to Fort Clyde and back. And by the time you get back to Waldo Road, he was out of sand and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand why they didn't show contract with Jimmy directly.
Yeah. I think their assumption is that the towns can get it cheaper because they'll hire whoever it is that's doing it.
Yeah, but what does it benefit us? And
Yeah,
it just puts us in the,
Yeah.
it puts us in the middle. If someone files a lawsuit because it was under our contract that the road wasn't quote properly de-iced or whatever. And it gets them, wow, we're contract with the town. Anyway, okay. All right, where are we next? Oh, sorry, no, we did. All those in favor? that was under discussion. Okay, consider abatement for map 12 lot 9. Is this the tear down? No. Oh, okay, it had 4, it only has 2 bedrooms instead of 4.
Yeah, I move we, approve the abatement for map 12 lot 9 in the amount of $268.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Has that already been paid, Terry?
No,
Well, you have to pay before you can file an abatement.
Thanks, so would you, ideally, you
Oh, okay.
it's sure a whole lot easier if they don't.
I know, but I thought you had to, but anyways, okay, all those in favor? Aye. And let's do those other abatements you had, one was the village is no longer there, right? Did you say it was in our packet?
One is for,
Is it at the back of it, or?
it was in the second packet.
Oh, in fact, it was on the table tonight?
No, the one that I printed Thursday before I left, because it came in. Was,
Okay,
Jake.
So I got- so I got
Last
it.
session.
should be a total of 3 codes.
Yeah.
There's three abatements and one personal property abatement.
That's usually.
I think there is. Municipal valuation report.
Oh, they're in that?
Yes.
No, I don't have it, but that's okay. I mean, I'm sure I do.
There's Susan Co-op, Michael Carr. The one you just did, and then a personal property.
Oh, wait,
That's for 50.
no, that's the taxes, yeah. Well, anyways, go ahead. They're pretty straightforward. I did look at these. So. Motions,
I move we approve the abatement for 6 Powder House Cove in the amount of $3,966.24.
Yes, they tore the house down, but it was never taken off. And they have paid their taxes.
They have paid.
Oh, the co-op.
actually, I don't understand why I don't have it. I have everything that was given tonight at the table. You have this? No, I don't think I do. But I'm sure
Is
Terry
it
gave
in
it.
your, did you not
was-
grab it, John, out of your?
I didn't grab the second packet.
Yeah, but this
So
one,
there.
was- so, you know, this was
It was
one
on the table.
on the table tonight, wasn't it? There
I
were
didn't-
3,
I saw
the one that looks like it had.
the certified. I saw this. And I'm sorry, getting bad in my old age, here, but I do not seem to have, and I've been through this twice, and nothing is more frustrating than going through something 3 times. But okay. Not gonna look at that again, that's the lease purchase. Go ahead. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Do we have a map and lot on that?
It is map 1, lot 99.
I think that will do mine in friendly amendment to your correct motion, put the map and lot in there. Okay. All those in favor?
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so this is I move we approve the abatement for 22 Portage Trail, which is map 17, lot 3-1. In the amount of $142.73. And this is the one where it's been 21.
This is Carr.
Yeah, this is Carr. reduced for being a wetland in the subdivision survey. New house estimated tax. That's not the same one, is it? No.
No, Chase was the other one that had 4 bedrooms, was estimated at 4 bedrooms, they only had 2.
This was 3 bedroom, should go to a wood deck assessed it now.
I can't help, because I can't find it.
So I didn't, we got it, right?
Mhm.
The motion.
You want the map and lot on that one too?
Yeah, I gave her that 17/3-1.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Now, wasn't there another one?
Yeah.
There's a personal property one.
Bruce had pizza.
No, there was one where co-op.
Lots of color.
That they turned into a paved parking lot?
That was.
We did that one, that was private house code.
Where they took the building down.
Let's see that.
We already did
There was
that.
a second one.
Yeah, it was the second one.
This is Spruce Fisherman's Co-op. Private house
You made
code.
them
So, you-
Yeah, I am too. I hate getting stuff. But Terry's right.
Oh, yeah.
Something,
adjustments made, okay. The building demo. Okay.
well, we do have the personal property for Bruce had pizza, which hasn't existed for
Several years.
several years. I think we've abated this now 7 years in a row. They finally gonna take it off the.
Yes, they did. Jay did remove that.
Huh?
Jay did remove that.
Okay, so
Way to go.
I move that we make personal property
Magic note.
tax for Spruceette Pizza in the amount of $429.59, and I don't have the
There's no map and lot.
No, it's
Personal property.
personal property. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? I do miss the pizza. All those in favor? I'm glad, because I do think we've abated this every year. Okay. All right. No, won't be able to find something else. All right, we have a resignation from the budget committee, from Beverly St. Clair. She sent it to me personally, I guess as chair, I did respond to her and CC you folks, I believe. I just said, I'm sorry to hear this, I thoroughly understand. And I told her I'd ask Terry to put it on the agenda tonight. And then I put, so if you have a change of heart between then and now, ... but I didn't
You haven't
hear
heard
anything.
anything.
We're going in the wrong direction here with volunteers.
Well, I move that we accept Beverly St. Clair's resignation from the budget committee with regret.
I will second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? That's too bad. I think she was a good member.
I've been trying to do some recruiting.
Not easy, is it?
No.
I keep talking to people. Nobody does, everybody says, what do you want to do that stuff on these days? Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's gonna do it.
Yeah. Okay, it's getting tiresome. Okay, accepting a donation to the beautification account. I assume the beautification account is the flowers and shrubs out front. Okay. And can you say who this is from and how much?
Lot Plum for $100.
Huh?
Lot Plum for $100.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept Lark Blum's donation for $100 to the beautification account for use in the garden.
I'll second that.
For discussion, all those in favor? Considering accepting a donation from the ambulance service,
I move that we accept the donation from Vance and Sarah Bunker, $250 to the ambulance service.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is it Sarah or?
Sorry, sorry.
Sarah.
Okay. Further discussion, all those in favor?
I move that we accept the donation from Vance and Sari Bunker for $250 to the fire.
I'll second that.
Further discussion, all those in favor? And Terry, you had an adjustment to the agenda?
Yes, there's a donation to the Conservation Commission. I don't know who made it and I don't know how much.
Yes, I did, prior to the formation of the Conservation Commission, there was an ad hoc group, and Andrew Stanfield had some small couple names made up, and passed them out to the group, and there was a couple of stickers. So at the yard sale at the library, I put them on the table and said, you know, this price and money will go to the Conservation Commission. So I'm asking that, $40 be put into, our account.
Oh, I move that we accept the $40 for sale done by the Conservation Commission
It will not by the Conservation Commission, but I'll be happy.
on behalf of.
Yes, and I got the $40 with you.
Okay.
Don't give it away.
Yeah.
That's why I said, don't give it away.
I'll second that.
Okay, further discussion? All those in favor? I hope you weren't waiting all night for that.
No, I just love watching you guys.
No, I'm serious, if I had known you were sitting,
No,
you
I-
weren't, okay, good, because I feel terrible if you were.
No, not at
We
all.
could have had you out here 2 hours ago. Okay, monthly reports, any questions?
Were we gonna do something?
Yes,
With what?
this needs to be signed. Oops,
Oh, that's right, that's an adjustment, okay, we can take that up now, yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff to sign.
I don't remember seeing that one, I came in the room, maybe I have.
I think this was Thursday. You took the packet early, and then when Jay left, I printed these and put them in the packets. They probably picked those all up.
So it's probably
I did,
sitting
I
up
picked
there.
mine up Sunday.
So that's, I'm looking for something I didn't have.
Right.
That makes me feel better. Well, yeah, I picked it up after you said the packets were ready.
Right, and then Jay dropped this off at like 4 o'clock as he's going out the door. And I
Well,
said,
don't they get-
Yeah, I said, so, I said we can bring it up as an adjustment, or we can leave it till, I think next time we'll just leave it till, it gets confusing. It's not real time.
Yeah, can I look at that one?
Sure. You could even keep it and start signing it.
I'm not sure I'm inclined to. Have you looked this over? Does he have our commitment right? And,
I didn't look it over.
oh boy,
We can table it till next meeting. We've got
no, isn't there a deadline?
November 1st.
On November 1st? I make a motion. on the table.
Yeah, I'd like to look at these things over. I don't like them. They have a habit, and Jay more than Kevin of sticking stuff in front of us at the last second. And the deadline is gonna be there tomorrow. So I would urge we table it too.
Yeah. So
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
set the 9th.
Well, it does. That's the stuff we want to talk about. Exactly. And I was looking for that earlier, when that's what I was coming in for, Terry. I couldn't think of the name of the form, but this is it. And it was sitting in my folder.
I'm gonna take that one back, though, John, because
Yeah,
that's the original
well,
one.
remind me to get mine.
Yep.
When we leave. I hope it's in there, boy.
I'm not, I can make your copy quick.
Well, I can't think of what the adjustment was that I had on. So. Oh, we need to talk about meetings. Are we down there yet?
Yeah, and so, but did you want to talk about the fuel surcharge that, or not?
We're talking about from Hager?
Yeah.
Well, my impression is that the board had given me the authority to make those decisions. So I was planning on making.
Okay,
It
it was highlighted as something I asked for.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah,
Right here, fuel charge.
That was Jimmy's, just so that you know, Jimmy has a fuel.
Oh,
yeah,
surcharge.
that is contract, that is contract. You're talking about the Hager.
Right.
Yeah. I did talk to Andrew at length about it, and, he felt it was, you saw his email, he felt it was very reasonable. And, technically, we could hold their feet to the fire, but we've done a lot of work with them, and so I'm inclined to approve it. I mean, and we're gonna get reimbursed 78% of the name, so, which is not a good reason to do it. But, I do think, I don't think it's worth ruining our relationship with them over a couple of minutes.
I agree. I just think that in the future, we probably need to make sure that it is in the contract if we're going to do it.
I agree, and there's been several things that I felt could have been a lot clearer. And, you know, and I weren't even aware enough to ask the question this time. I mean, let's face it, the town really doesn't typically do a project of that magnitude. I mean, you know, and so I think it was certainly, I learned a lot, but by the time we do another one, I'll probably be gone, so. But I mean, but if you folks object to it, I mean, that's fine too. I mean, but I wasn't. That's my inclination, so unless I hear objections. I'm nervous, okay. So where were we? Correspondence, do we have any? We didn't, right? That came in after I took my back. Warrant review and approval, we got a bunch to sign. Review items for the next agenda, I think we did that pretty much as we went along. You got a list? Anybody else want anything on the next agenda?
Yes, I will, please.
Okay.
I'd like to report on the progress with the climate resilience project.
You would like to report on it?
I would like.
Okay,
to
good.
report to you.
Yeah, okay, good, because I don't think we have anything to report, so.
Well, fortunately, I do, so.
Oh, and also, I think the facilities committee might like to be on the agenda, this is not definite yet, to talk about, potential, appointments to the board of directors of the, nonprofit corporation, which is now incorporated.
Oh.
I'll show you.
Yeah, I called Kristen on another matter, and I said, oh, by the way, what's going on with it? She said, well, I sent you an email. I said, I don't think so. She said, yeah. And turns out she had drafted it. She
It
And
was
I've done-
it was in her drafts.
And I've done that many times.
Me
So that's not definite, but I think that's, but we do need to talk about schedules, because this is, I'm getting piled up here in October. Quite piled up, as a matter of fact. So we're meeting again on the 27th, correct?
Yeah,
Everybody has that?
yeah.
All right. So normally we would have met on the 11th and the 25th in October, is that correct? I'm not available on the 11th. And Leslie and I are going to Sicily and Malta from the 19th to November 3rd. So that means I'm not available on the 25th. So, and the 11th is a medical thing. So, we need to make some adjustments or something. I know, I'm willing to meet, once they'll probably kill me, on the 18th, the night before we leave. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm willing to do that. But I know that you're not good for you, right?
Right, but as long as I can make 4, then I can miss.
Well, I'm not available on the 4th either, sorry.
Well, no, The Lions meets on the 4th and the 18th. As long as I can be at the Lions on the 4th, then I can just.
Okay. So, do we wanna just try to have one meeting in October? Or do we wanna try to squeeze in a meeting early? I mean, we're meeting on the 27th, so to do one the next week seems a little,
Yeah,
but we could meet like on the 13th and the 18th, but that's awful close together. Do you wanna just shoot for the 18th?
you just do one.
Just do one, and if we have to have one quick special 5 o'clock afternoon thing for something that comes up, does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 18th it is. And I apologize for having Mike October, I don't know what happened in October. It just went crazy. My son is, and daughter-in-law have just moved to Malta. And working there, and so they've just gotten an apartment and they will invite us to come before she goes back to Japan for a couple of months, so. We have to do it in October, not that I feel like we have to do it, I don't mean that, but we're looking forward to it.
If you
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
go, yeah.
Sorry if I don't do this now. Okay. Terry, I'm sure that doesn't break your heart.
No?
All right, so we did that. I'm gonna jump back up to K and ask for a motion to enter executive session to discuss the personnel matter.
That all we have to say.
You gotta quote the,
Oh, okay.
yeah, Jeff got it. Just find it. Look at these laminates.
So Title 1, Chapter 31, Paragraph 405A, to discuss the personnel matter.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Before we go in, I don't anticipate that we'll take any action when we come out other than to adjourn, but again, I'm saying this for the public benefit, but that's always possible. So is there, so all those in favor of entering executive session? Okay, 3-0.